was free black. The racial name sits on Aille-Brevel in St. Landry and in the Opelousas post office records. There are racial graves marked with French inscriptions in Catholic cemeteries that predate 1860. If your name is Rachel and your people come from the bottom of Natchitoches Parish, the parish paper is going to give you this. 8. Mullion Jean-Baptiste Mullion is a special case. Saint, Landry Parish, sugar and cotton. By 1840, he was one of the wealthiest free black planters in Louisiana, and his family papers, the Mullion family papers at El Sioux, run for hundreds of pages documenting real estate deals, mortgage notes, lawsuits over slaves he'd bought in his own right, and an 1889 petition for relief from the family to the Louisiana legislature after Reconstruction turned ugly. The 1889 petition, Antoine Mullion, hashtag 8090 in the family papers is its own chapter, filed long after the surname had moved geographies. Mullion had a mother named Maria Juana, who bought her own freedom out of slavery in 1776. Her son bought land. Her grandson built what came to be called the Manchu Mansion on Bayou Bourbeau, and ran a sugar operation large enough that the parish seat had opinions about it. The bloodline is documented. The Mullion surname carries a guaranteed paper trail from the slave code of colonial Louisiana into the post-emancipation era. If your family name is Mullion and somebody in your tree is Sugar Country, Louisiana, follow that paper. Stop when you find the 1776 emancipation, because everything before it is the part the family lore tends to skip. Schwenninger's 1989 article, Antebellum Free Persons of Color in Postbellum Louisiana in the Journal of American History, lays out the family in print. 9. Lanous, we've talked about the St. Dominguez earlier. Now meet their children. Paul Lanous, there are several, is the baptismal record of a baby boy, free person of color, fathered by a man of the same surname. Baptized at St. Louis Cathedral in New Orleans on a Sunday in April 1815, godmother Marie Celeste de McCarty. The Lanous family fought at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815 in a free black militia company, and they kept fighting afterward, owning property, marrying into Cloutier, into Dequire, into other names on this list. New Orleans' genealogy is more interlocked than the rest of Louisiana. A single French surname in this city usually unlocks 3 other surnames. If your family is Lanous, the Cathedral Register at St. Louis is your first stop. 10. Balthazar this is the one that makes people gasp on the comments. The name Balthazar, like the Magi, like a Christmas pageant, appears all over the free black registers of New Orleans and Cane River. It shows up in census pages, in the 1840 Mayor's Register of Complexion Mulatto, in marriage bonds and school enrollment records from the Institut Catholique. It sounds European. It is continental. It is also one of the most consistently free black names in the late 18th and 19th century New Orleans baptismal records. Names are not a clean indicator of ancestry on the colonial frontier. They don't tell you who your great-great-grandmother was. They tell you who your great-great-grandmother was emancipated next to, who her neighbors were, whose notarial act freed her children. A Balthazar with French-Canadian ancestry in his tree and a free black community in his parish practice almost certainly pulls from both sources. 11. Metoyer this is the family most viewers have already heard of. Marie-Therese Coincoin, born into slavery in 1742 in Natchitoches, daughter of African slaves originally trafficked from the Senegambian coast. Natchitoches records list her mother as a Senegambian-born woman, not a Caribbean-born one, which matters for what we now know about her African source region. Claude Thomas Pierre Metoyer owned her. He freed her in 1778. Together they had 10 mixed-race children. He deeded Coincoin land. He emancipated their children. By 1860, their descendants, Metoyer by surname on the father's side, married into Coincoin's community on the mother's side, sat at the head of 89 free black families on Aille-Brevel, owning 20,000 acres of Cane River bottomland and hundreds of enslaved laborers. Augustin Metoyer, son of Coincoin, raised a Catholic church on Aille-Brevel in 1829 with his own money, and the white and free black Metoyers sat in the same galleries on alternating Sundays. Because the parish priest drew the color line down the aisle, the descendants still hold reunions at Melrose. The bloodline goes back to 1742. Nobody argues about it. What is striking is what didn't survive the family's story in popular memory, the part about how many of them went on living as free black people in 1860. The Melrose Tour tells the visitor that Coin Coin's grandchildren became white Louisiana Creoles. The parish paper tells a different story, on a column labeled Free Persons of Color. Both are true. Both ride the same bloodline. Hold that paradox. It's the engine of what I'm about to say. 12. Rillieux Norbert Rillieux was born in 1806 in New Orleans, son of Vincent Rillieux, a wealthy white French engineer and cotton planter, and Constance Vivant, a free woman of color, in a long-term thought relationship. In 1834, Rillieux invented the multiple effect evaporator, the machine that turned the Louisiana sugar industry from a collapsing mess into the dominant force of the 19th century world sugar trade. The American Chemical Society named it a National Historic Chemical Landmark in 2004. He is one of the most consequential engineers in the history of food. The standard bio says his father was a wealthy white French immigrant. The lived history is that his mother was a free black woman of New Orleans, that his sister was married into the free black Creole community, and that to keep his career moving, he had to spend a significant portion of his adult life in Paris, where the color column did not exist on the mayor's register. The Rillieux line was both. If your family is Rillieux, your bloodline runs through enslavement and through the Smithsonian's landmark list of American inventors in the same afternoon. And that is the truth of 19th century New Orleans almost nobody outside the parish registers has been told. Hold on. Don't scroll yet. I saved the 13th for last on purpose, and once you hear it, you will see the comment section light up. 13. Sarpy the Sarpy family name is on the major trader list of every Louisiana history textbook. Jean-Pierre Sarpy and his descendants ran stores, boats, and warehouses along the Mississippi. Jean-Pierre's younger brother, Moran Sarpy, ran a series of Natchitoches trading posts in the late 1790s and early 1800s. He fathered children with a free woman of color in Natchitoches named Nanine, and with other Creole women of African descent. In those days, the Sarpy name did not refer to one family. It referred to a network. And a subset of that network shows up on the 1840 Mayor's Register, on the free black baptismal rolls of the Cathedral of St. Louis, on the Isle Brevel tax rolls, attached to free status, owned property, Catholic names. By the 1850s, the parish paper listed a free woman of color named Sarpy, born a Sarpy, not married to one, as a free person of color in Natchitoches. Anthony Sarpy appears in the 1840 register with complexion mulcher. He had inherited land from his father. The land records were filed in the parish courthouse. They are in the French notarial volumes. What makes this the one that stops you cold is not the Sarpy name in the black register. It's what that register sitting next to a white Sarpy in the same parish tells you that no textbook wants to admit. The same family, by blood, registers on different color columns of the same census. Race in 19th century Louisiana was not biology. It was a parish clerk's morning decision. A child born on the right side of a river at the right hour on the right day was free. A child born a few feet on the other side of the same parents was enslaved. Sarpy papers with a continental sounding signature sat on the free black side. Sarpy papers with the same handwriting sat on the white side. The parish didn't erase anyone. The parish split them. If your family is Sarpy, walk the Natchitoches notarial volumes. The boundary is in there. It is also in the 1840 Mayor's Register for New Orleans. The reason this surname stopped me cold is the realization that it's the cleanest example of Louisiana of what this whole video is about. The parish paper named your family twice, once in each column, and said neither of them had made a mistake. That's the look on the page. You have to find it yourself to believe it. If your surname is on this list, any of these 13, even just the way the clerk wrote it, leave a comment below telling you the parish your folks settled in. There's a record there. We'll find it. How to know for sure 3 honest next steps. 1. The 1810 and the 1840 federal census rolls on Ancestry and Heritage Quest. Both have a color column. Pull your great-great-grandfather's entry. If the column says free person of color or lists a Spanish, French, mixed-race descriptor in his household's color field, the document is doing the work for you. Note that the 1830 through the 1860 free schedules have been microfilmed and indexed separately, because in Louisiana, they kept running them. The slave schedules won't list it by name. That's the catch that catches most people. 2. The New Orleans City Archives. Register of Free Persons of Color entitled to remain in the state, 1840, 1864. The 2,818 entries are searchable now in the enslaved.org hub Free Blacks database. If your ancestor shows up there, he had already been a free person long enough for the city to demand he prove it. The document often lists occupation, previous place of residence, and complexion. Watch for complexion, it is not a beauty note. It is a legally classified term with 3 preset options under Louisiana's 19th century free black statutes, mulcher, griff, or quarteron. The database was built from the original 4 leather-bound volumes held at the New Orleans Public Library's Louisiana Division. 3. The notarial archives for the parish where your family papers come from. Natchitoches has the Knockaine River collection, 4,100 documents, 169 family names, 1817, 1859, the source of everything I just said about Leconte, Rachel, Louette, and the Cloutier slander trial. Point Coupe has church and notarial records at the El Soo Hill Memorial Library. New Orleans has the New Orleans Public Library's Louisiana Division, the NOC, and Tulane's Latin America Library. St. Landry has the Opelousas Museum. If your surname matches one of the 13 and the parish paper is intact in any of these collections, the cross-reference index is your gold mine. Your ancestor will appear in baptismal records next to Metoyer or Cloutier or Sarpy or Rachel. That single proximity is the equivalent of a DNA match. A word of caution. African ancestry and 23andMe autosomal tests will not, by current methodology, separate a free black Creole line from a slave Creole line, because the source population genes overlap too heavily. What they'll tell you is the continental mixture, usually French, often a meaningful Senegambian or West African ancestor, sometimes Malagasy, sometimes a small indigenous signal. That's a meaningful answer. It's not the answer that changes a family tree. To change a family tree, you walk the color column. And the column is in the parish paper, not the cheek swab. The ancestry I want you to keep is the one the state of Louisiana stamped on the page.
And I found that we found who you are. Oh, I'm just saying, fuck that. But that's the game. That's the game of being done in all the work. You just gotta realize the shit. And opt out the shit. By not trying to play the game or run the game anybody else. I'm just saying. We don't do anything. Bravo.